How to set Airbnb seasonal pricing. Many hosts leave money on the table by not setting seasonal Airbnb pricing well in advance. Today we look at how to establish seasonal pricing and how to set it on Airbnb. Pretty easy. Hi, Johan here, welcome, thanks. Knowing that you are taking time to watch is really encouraging. I appreciate it, thank you. Our Cape Town Superhost team of memory creators and hassle Airbnb management and unlock value for absent owners and maybe, hopefully, hosts like you. Next week we will look at why and how to set discounts to maximize income. Yes, maximize income by discounts. Doesn't make sense, but it's going to show you. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and stay in touch. It's simple. Let's consider Michael's frustration. He said, "Twice now I have had an issue where guest books a popular date a full 12 months in advance. The dates they are booking for are ones which usually attract a premium. Is there any way to set the price long in advance? This has cost me hundreds already. We will not be a statistic. Let's fix it today." First, we will look at a picture to conceptualize the idea. It's a spreadsheet and that you can download and use for your own needs or adapt as for your own needs, but it's not really required. Your gut feel and a bit of insight will make a massive difference. Secondly, we will visit Airbnb to show you how and what not to do. The example I'll be using is based on the previous videos where I showed you how to calculate a competitive Airbnb pricing. Check it out. Today I'll make a few assumptions on seasonality and you can adapt it. Your average rate for the year, $750, conservative occupancy at 35%, and our aim is to beat about $109,000 for the year. During slow times, we set the Airbnb pricing lower at about 90% of the average, and during summer, higher at 127%. During peak, about 20 days, maybe 4 weeks, we increase it to 250%, more than double. But you need to adjust it also for long weekends or school holidays. Even in winter, you may have a slightly higher rate. The seasonal difference will obviously differ, and it doesn't matter a lot. It really doesn't matter if you watch my previous videos. Let's say you get a booking quickly and you think you could have done a little more. Do not worry. You are learning and this is a marathon. Trust building is more important than a quick buck. You are getting feedback. Adapt for the future. But how do you know the difference for the seasons? You can spy on your competitors. Check their average rates for the season. But don't be surprised if they are clueless about setting different prices for different seasons. Many are. The good ones, they will set it. Start off with small differences between seasonal rates and then learn. Setting seasonal rates should never be seen in isolation. You also need to set your minimum length of stays. And I will tell you why in future videos. If you're a subscriber, see the link in the description for a quick tip on setting excellent minimum length of stays. Okay, before we look at the second table, let me introduce it. I've divided the year in 26 two-week periods. I believe this is a reasonable period. Let's have a look at the table. Okay, in previous videos I used most of these figures for our example. We calculated a competitive rate of $750 per day, and we work on a conservative occupancy of 35%. And for this example, the annual income is expected to be $109,000. For winter, I've chosen a reduction in rate of about 10%. So only 90% of the $750 gives us for winter a discount of 10%. But I'm not working on discount, remember. I'm just discounting the price before we actually set that. And then over summer, we increase the rates, in our case, to 127%. And then for a period over peak, we increase the rate to more than double. And that's just for a short period of 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the demand. But we set that out in front, and then we play around with it as we go along, and we see we're not getting bookings, then we reduce it. If we get bookings, then obviously we're not losing out on anything. Then slow summer is just an internal thing that we've got just before winter and just after summer, or not really after summer, but in between, there's a period where booking starts slowing down, and we adjust it accordingly. So you can use these figures for yourself to just plan it out, and then you can individually go and work on certain weekends. You may find a very popular weekend or school holiday over winter where you slightly increase it. You find slow periods in summer which you decrease. So just play around with the idea. Okay, now that we've got the variables out of the way, and you'll just make note of the colors that we've got here. I want to show you how we unpack this spreadsheet. Over here we've got it. So we've got winter, we've got our average rate over there, which is $750. We've got the seasonality, and each of these little blocks represents 2 weeks. And you can see how winter is 90%, how the rate is reduced to $675, and then in summer we increase it, and then over peak we really do it a lot more. And your case may obviously differ. And then you'll see over here we've got slow summer, and then we've got winter again, and we just continue with the cycle. Now that's your occupancy, which is 35%, and then it calculates your income for 2 weeks, or let's rather call it expected income. So you can see over here we've got a figure that tallies up all the incomes, and we try and get the incomes to tally up and be very similar to our plan of $10,900. So you see there, over there, it's slightly below, but it gives you an idea of what should be done. Now what we need to do is we need to go and plug these numbers into our Airbnb at least 12 months in advance. And if I were you, I would probably do 18 months, because there's a lot of people that are really planning their holidays long in advance. So always have at least 12 months, but maybe even 18 months worth of rates set up at all times. Okay, now we'll continue, and let's see how we actually plug it into Airbnb. Any questions so far? Use the hashtag #AskCapeHolidays below and I will respond. Okay, now to Airbnb to set our pricing. Click on availability. Then go down, and I'm not going to talk about all these settings. I would like you to have a look to do the availability window. What I want you to do is to actually go and set your availability window to dates unavailable by default. What you now do is you go to your calendar. All right. This is just an example, so obviously don't make anything of this. This is just, we're just going to use this, and you click on your first date and you start selecting your period. Now, depending on where in the world you are, for us, until about there will be end of our winter, and obviously in where you are, it might be your prime time. And then you basically look at available and you set your rate accordingly, which is $650 or whatever, and you set it for the period, and then you continue and you do exactly the same for every other little period that you feel needs a slightly different rate. Now I just want to show you a little tip on the side. Now let's select a few days. I just want to get the idea. I'm not going to show you how to do it. I just want to show you another. This is what I like to show you, the rule set. Airbnb is built in a specific rule set that you can use for different periods. You can put up a custom price for a period, and it's all kinds of clever things. But I must be honest with you, this is not something that I would feel you need to do. Keep it simple and do what I suggest and leave this. And if you really have to do it at a much later stage. But I haven't found any joy of doing this complicated rule set. So ignore that. Rather set your rates and work with your discounts over the periods as I've suggested in the previous tables that I've shown. All right. That's it. That's quite simple to actually set it up into Airbnb, and you can set it as far in advance as you like. You can go many months in advance. That was easy, wasn't it? Our Airbnb world is changing. We have to adapt. Plan long in advance. Use seasonal pricing. Use discounts next week. It is important. It will make you more money. I suggest you subscribe, get access to the tips and the spreadsheet I used. See the link below. Have fun. Johan Horak. I have to conclude again by saying earn trust, earn trust, earn trust. Then you can worry about the rest.